Hello again. We've got another UK legal. This one I just got today. This is the Civivi Appalachian Drifter. Now I've never had a Civivi knife before. I haven't really wanted to, in fact. I haven't been interested in that side of the knife scene at all. I just couldn't care before. Until I seen Civivi come out with the Appalachian Drifter. I immediately loved everything about it. And what makes it particularly important for me is the fact that it's UK legal carry. Now we'll get on to what I love about it beforehand, but I do want to say before I really start this off is well done Civivi. Genuinely, this is a really great knife. It should be for the price, but my god am I impressed with this knife. I don't think I've felt quite excited about a knife at all as I have for this one, purely just because of the design, the functionality, all that. We'll get to that. But I'm going to do something I don't usually do. I usually don't care to show you the box and everything else what it came with, but this is a little bit different. I kind of put an extra smile on my face, so I'll just cut to that. Right, now as I said before, I usually don't pay attention to the box on the knives coming because it's really not that interesting. It's just a box. Made in China, however, I kind of don't like that. It is what it is. I mean, Civivi, I believe, is a Chinese company, so it is reasonable to assume that it's made in China anyway. I knew that when I bought it. It's common knowledge. Everyone knows that. I'm not a fan. I'd rather buy Western products when I can. It's not because I hate China or Chinese people or anything like that. It's just I'd rather buy things. I'd rather buy Western products when I can. I find the little message here kind of amusing, how it says that that it's covered under warranty unless it's confiscated. I find that a little bit funny. This knife actually comes with a case, not with a belt pouch or anything, but just a little nylon pouch, which I don't see me ever using. But I suppose if you did have a few of these, or a few, I think Civivi sends these with all their knives. Actually came with the knife in the case, which is, I guess, it's kind of nice because when you consider the price of these knives, £100. Now, for some of you, £100 might not be a lot of money for a knife. For me, that's a lot of money for a knife. There's so many other things I could do with that kind of money. So really there's only, well, this is now my third most expensive knife. My first most expensive knife is my, it's one of my K-bars, it's a Becker. Second to that is the Enzo PK70. So this is now the third most expensive knife I have. But it is kind of nice that they throw in a little storage pouch, which, like I said, I'll probably never use. Little wrapper where the knife came in, don't really care about that. A cleaning cloth, that's a nice gesture, I suppose, because again, £100 for a knife, in my opinion, isn't really cheap. And it's nice that they throw in a little cloth to clean, because obviously you want to take care of your knife. You should take care of all your tools, actually, not just your knife. At least I certainly try to keep my saws and chisels in good condition. A little leaflet, I'm going to get to that in a minute. I wasn't sure if this is a sticker. Is it, or is it just a little note thing? I'm not sure. But this, I think, is a sticker. And again, that's just, it's nothing too exciting, but I just think it's kind of nice that they threw in a little free sticker there. I appreciate that. That was just a nice little surprise, I thought. What else was there? Something to do with this leaflet I wanted to talk about, if I can get a hold of it. Give me a little second and I'll figure out what it was I wanted to say. That was it. This is probably the only thing that annoyed me. I suppose it's not too unreasonable, but right there it says, never touch the cutting edge with fingers or body parts. Body parts, perhaps. Certainly don't put it next to your knob. That might not be a great idea, but where it says don't let the cutting edge come near your fingers, that just annoys me a little bit, because really there's no better way of checking to see if a knife is sharp than just to feel it. people have done that since forever. For as long as there's been knives, people have touched the edge of their knives to see if they're sharp, and it's just the first thing that I do when I get a new knife, or it's the first thing I do when I've sharpened a knife or any other tool for that matter. So it just kind of annoyed me a little bit. There as well, actually, what was it? Never open the knife when people or animals are in front of you. Well, if there's someone a few meters in front of you, doing that isn't really going to do anything. So I suppose this sheet is just to cover their own ass, which I guess is not too bad, but it's one of those things that irritates me a little bit. But anyway, on to the knife itself, the fun part, instead of my pointless complaining. The Civivi Appalachian Drifter, I absolutely love it. Now, for the longest time, and I've said this a million times on my channel, for the longest time, I have been looking for a knife as close as possible to this. The Buck 112 Ranger. I don't know why, but I just sort of fell in love with it. I don't know why, I love the feel, I love the size, I love the shape. I really like the handle shape, and I'm absolutely crazy over that clip point blade. I like everything about it. If there was any such thing as a perfect knife, something like this, to me, would be the perfect knife. Now, the Appalachian Drifter. While it's a lot different, it's got a lot in the same. It's a lot more modern. It's got more modern materials, modern features. It does have a pocket clip, which I'm 50-50 on. Usually with a modern knife, I prefer a pocket clip. With a traditional, I'd rather it not. I'd rather a traditional knife be a traditional knife. And some people on YouTube, on the knife scene, like to talk about modern traditionals, and they might, for example, talk about a knife like this purely because it's non-locking. This isn't a modern traditional. There's nothing traditional about this. It's a modern. Something like this is closer to a traditional. I don't think you can call this a modern traditional, it's just a traditional. This, in my mind, is the closest I've ever seen to something that's both modern and traditional. It's got a very traditional, at least in reference to that buck knife, it's got a very traditional shape and blade. I think my micarta has been around for quite a while. I don't know enough about it to say. The only thing traditional about it is the size and shape, really. Everything else is very modern. I think the steel's quite modern, S35VN. I don't know enough about it. I've always maintained that I don't care too much for steel, and that's still the case. I did do a little bit of reading about it, however, and it does seem to have quite good specifications. Now you can also see, if I just close the knife, because this thing did come bloody sharp, we've got a little bit of a false bolster there. It's basically just a little bit of a groove cut into the micarta. I like that. Now, this really is my preferred design. I really like the two brass bolsters with the wood inlay. I think it's walnut. I could be wrong. I'm fairly sure it's walnut. But you've got the brass pins, which I love. Unfortunately, we don't have pins. We have Torx, but there's only two of them, so it's not dotted all over the place. That I do like. Can't even see it on this side, although we do have the two screws for the pocket clip. But we've got one there, and obviously there's the pivot, and another Torx. But in terms of shape, it's very similar. And obviously we've got a bit of a stone washed blade there. Size, again, you can see it's quite similar. In fact, I'll move this piece of wood out of the way. I just thought it'd be fun to present it on a nice piece of wood. That was mahogany, by the way. Hopefully I'll turn that into a nice bowl or a plate on my lathe sometime soon. So in terms of length, it's actually very similar, which is fantastic. That's what I was looking for. In terms of feeling in the hand, and a lot of this video I'm going to compare it directly to this knife just because I've been looking for something like it for so long. In terms of feeling in the hand, this is a lot chunkier and heavier, which I do love, but this is really nice too. Now this isn't actually a slip joint, it's a double ball detent. You can see both of the balls in there, whereas obviously this is a lock back. Now had our knife laws not been so stupid, I would just EDC this like 90% of the time. But because I can't carry a lock knife without a good reason, and a lot of the time I don't have a good reason, I've been looking for something like this. I've bought so many knives looking for something that comes close to this. None of them came close enough. This might actually do the trick, although it is just a bit small. That's okay because it does come really close. But anyway, enough of the buck right now. Let's just have a look at this knife. So, I don't know why, but for a while this was really difficult to get in the UK. I think these released a few months ago. And I think they came to Knives and Tools first, and then Heine Haynes got them. And then after a few weeks, Heine Haynes stopped selling them, and then Knives and Tools stopped selling them. It's not that they went out of stock, because they had a few different versions. They just disappeared from Heine's website altogether. You just can't find them. Now they still sell the Civivi Gent. That's a nice looking knife. I would maybe consider buying that too. That's still there, same as Knives and Tools. If you have a look at Knives and Tools, they still have them and they're still in stock. It just says this product is unavailable. Now I've noticed certain Knives and Tools just do not want to ship to the UK. Karambits. I don't know why, but they stopped selling karambits to the UK, and it seems that anything that opens quickly, Knives and Tools have also suspended sale to the UK. I'm not sure why, because fast opening, one-handed opening knives or flipper knives are actually not banned, nor is karambits. They've just decided to stop selling them here. I'm not sure why. Now, there was a bit of a panic in the knife community last year, the year before, that the government in the UK were going to ban flippers, which this is. I was a little bit worried about that too, because if they can ban flippers, they can ban thumb studs, and they can ban the holes. I mean, the finger holes, thumb holes. Sorry. How quickly can you open most Spyderco knives? So that would have had a lot of people in a panic. Same with the Axis lock. Those are quite fast opening knives. They decided not to. From what I've read, the Home Office reviewed videos of these knives and decided, nope, we're not intending to ban these, so that's good. But they banned spring assisted knives. So I'm not really sure why Heine Haynes and Knives and Tools suspended sale of these in the UK, because they're actually still legal. Well, anyway, every little once in a while I decided to look to see if there's anywhere else that sold them in the UK, and I was crossing my fingers that Heine would have them back. Unfortunately, it's still not the case, and Knives and Tools are still not shipping these to the UK, which is quite unfortunate. However, a relatively new company called Tactical Knives, and I've ordered from them before. I bought 2 Victorinox Soldiers there for an absolute steal of a price, and I will say that website's legitimate if you were worried about it, and I would recommend it. They have the Damascus versions. There was 2 Damascus versions, and they're only like £10, if that, even less. £10 more than the standard one. Moonraker knives, and that's where I'm going to send you if you want one. If you want one of these in the UK, you're going to have to go to Moonraker Knives. It's the only place I can find them. I'm not really sure if I'd be brave enough to buy from Lamina. I think that's how you pronounce it. They're in Europe. I've not ordered from them before, but they actually sell flick knives and balisongs, and obviously you can't import them to the UK. You'll get heavily shafted if you do. So I'd feel a bit nervous buying from them, but as Moonraker Knives are in the UK, I felt a lot safer about buying them. Now, even though to buy this knife in Europe and get it sent to the UK would be illegal, I just can't be bothered dealing with Border Force. I've heard too many stories of the Border Force taking people's knives and either basically forcing them to pay a ransom, that's how I see it, or just taking it, destroying it, and then having the police bang at the door and forcing them to pay a fine. So I'd rather just buy straight from a UK company. All that nonsense aside, Moonraker Knives are selling these for, I think it was £98, 98 pence or something like that. £100 essentially. I don't really feel comfortable paying £100 for any knife really, unless it's like a big heavy duty fixed blade. I've only a handful of knives in my entire collection, of which I have a lot, that I've spent that kind of money on a knife. And being made in China, doesn't really leave a great taste in my mouth. Again, not because I don't like China or the people. There's just some other issues. How about that? My thoughts and opinions aside, it doesn't matter because the Chinese do pump up a great product. The knives that they're making in China now are they're just fantastic. They're better than some UK made knives, and in fact, they're better than most UK made knives. They're better than a lot of American made knives. I just can't fault them. They're just so well made. A great example actually is Rough Rider. You either love them or you hate them. I love them. I started off hating them. The first couple I got were just crap. Ever since then, they've just been fantastic. And this is another one of those knives that I've been trying to get my hands on for a long time. The denim work knife, and oh, there's a video coming on this eventually. I'll have to make a video on that. This is a fantastic knife as well, made in China. So I think that was the first time I ever bought from Moonraker Knives, was buying this one. I might have bought this on Moonraker, actually I'm not sure. It was either Moonraker or Heine I got this one, I can't remember. I bought that many knives. But £100, yeah, okay, fine, I'll bite the bullet. And I got the olive version. Now I will say, on Moonraker Knives website, this looks nothing like the original colour. This is the colour I wanted, but the photo they have isn't that good. It looks a lot lighter. It looks, I can't even begin to describe the colour, how they have it looking. But this is the one I wanted, the olive, and I absolutely love it. I've seen so many photos of it online, and you know, I had to have it. It's absolutely marvellous. This is a lovely knife. It's small, but it's not too small that I can't fit it in my hand. The flipper action is quite nice. Now this is a very fidgety knife. We do have that flipper there, which you can use your front finger for. You could use your thumb. This is going to be a bit awkward. We also have, and I forgot what you call that, let's just call it a filler for the time being. Nail nick, whatever, it's on both sides. You could just open it like any other slip joint, same as a buck knife. Again, double ball detent. We do have steel liners in there, and as I said, the handle material is micarta, which looks really nice and it feels really nice. It's a nice texture to it. Provides a bit of a grip, but it's not going to tear up your skin, nor is it highly polished. And that blade does have a nice stone wash. Now I think I'd prefer a satin finish, although to be honest, the stone wash does look very nice up against that micarta. Now the only real thing I have to complain about the knife itself in terms of the way it looks is the Civivi logo. I was watching another channel talk about this the other day, and they pointed out it doesn't really match, and to be honest I agree. That Civivi logo on the pivot really doesn't match the rest of the knife, but this knife does not have Civivi or the name of the knife or anything plastered on it anywhere. That's the only marking on this knife, which that's fine, not got a problem with that. Now if you have a look at another knife such as the SOG Terminus, they just couldn't help themselves. They've got SOG written on the scales, on the handle, the other side of the scales, and the pocket clip. They just had to let you know that it was a SOG. Some people don't like that. That's fine. I do. I think it looks quite nice. Maybe they didn't need it on the blade, but I think that detail in there, the SOG engraved into the G10, does look kind of nice. I do quite like it. And honestly, that looks kind of cool too. The SOG that's been engraved, or cut out, should I say, into the pocket clip. I like it. But as I said, the only issue I have with this is that C. Overall, the knife is comfortable and easy enough to use. Takes a bit of a practice to do that flick, to get it to flip out, and as you can see, you could get it to flip back in, although sometimes it'll just bounce back out like that. I think almost everyone who has this knife has said that. But it's quite quick to open and close, very fidgety, a lot of fun to play with, a very enjoyable knife. We also do have a lanyard hole right there at the back, which is kind of hidden. That's not a problem. That's fine. Like, they would have done that. You could either use it or not. If you wanted to have the knife sitting like that to take a photo of it, the lanyard hole's not gonna ruin the look. But if you do want to put a piece of leather or paracord through there, you can. And again, pocket clip, it's in that one position. Tip up only, right hand only, whatever, it's fine. I'm happy with it. It's comfortable. It's not too bulky in the pocket. In fact, it takes up no room in the pocket really. Just clip it to the edge of your jeans and it won't move. I quite like it, although I kind of want to take it off just to see how I get on with it, just floating in the pocket. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to get a little leather slip for this, although that will, if I took that pocket clip off, leave a gap, as the pocket clip is recessed into the micarta. Now, a couple other things I was a little bit worried about with this knife. How safe is it? Generally speaking, I don't feel like slip joints are dangerous. I'm not worried about the chance of it closing on my fingers. If you're using a knife properly, you shouldn't have that problem. However, this is really loose. Not much force is required. That said, I still don't feel like I'm in danger. One thing I wanted to do with this knife is whittle with it. I want this to be, whether or not I do or not, is getting confused. That will remain to be seen. But I would like to make this one of my main EDCs, and as such, I'd like to be able to whittle with it. With that being so loose, I was a bit worried that might be a bit dangerous. But honestly, not a problem. At least not yet. I've not done anything much with it yet at all. I've just had a little play around with it, but not an issue. Even with your, in fact, I'll get a better bit of wood. I'll just use this stick here, piece of hawthorn. Even using your thumb to push, absolutely not a problem. I will say as well, this is something I'm not too much of a fan of, but it's okay, I suppose. It's ground quite shallow. It's not really got much of a grind on it. The cutting edge is quite thin. It is what it is. But I absolutely love that clip point. We've got a nice swedge. I absolutely love it. In fact, I'll just put it next to a couple of knives with a similar style. So we already had it next to the Buck 112, which is why I bought it. I've got a similar knife, a little Rough Rider. I forgot what this one was called. I forgot the name of this, but I like the style on this. That's only £8. Can you really go wrong with a little brass lock bag like that for £8? If nothing else, get this as an add-on knife. Buy this knife with your other, with your order to get free shipping. There you go. Speaking of size comparisons, I'll get a few other regulars that you should be familiar with. So I'll put it next to the SOG Terminus. To be honest, I think they're kind of in a similar league. Boker Plus XS. And you can't do a Ukiligo knife video without comparing it to a Victorinox. So there is the Spartan. So really it's about the same size as your standard Swiss Army knife. Anyway, I think that's about all. I don't think I've got much more to say about this, but to be honest, yeah, I'm really excited about this knife. I love it. I really love it. It would be nice though if Buck would make one of these as a slip joint. I'm glad that some companies are now starting to make non-locking knives and non-locking tools. The Leatherman Bond is a great example of that. I wish more knives would take note. A lot of these companies, what I wish they would do is look at the really popular knives and make a non-locking variant for the UK, because the knives that are loved in America, they're also loved here in the UK. A lot of people have these knives. I bet you if they made a non-locking version, I think a lot of people would buy them. I definitely would. In fact, I'd buy more than one, guaranteed. Anyway, that's all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Hold on just a second, I forgot to mention something. And yes, since I made the rest of the video, I cut my finger, because of course I did. I did forget to mention that the knife does create a bit of a hot spot right about, whoopsie, right about here-ish for me. I've been playing with this non-stop all day since I got it, and I've been doing a lot of flipping with my thumb like this, and I've found that getting the knife, not just with my thumb, also with my finger, I've found that getting the knife into position and getting ready to flip and actually flipping it, after a little while it tends to rub around here-ish. I wouldn't say it's painful, but it is a bit uncomfortable. I just thought it was important to let you know that. I'm not sure if that would still happen if you take off the pocket clip. It might go away, it might get worse. Anyway, that should be it this time. Cheers, and I'll see you later.